Hey everyone, doing a little bit of a different video today. I've been talking to a few people online about how I make custom Game Boy cartridges that run the translated ROM on real hardware, so you can make your own cartridge and play the game in English, which normally you couldn't do unless you have like a flash cartridge or something like that. So yeah, so this is a little bit different to what I normally do, but people were interested in how it works and what you can do. So I just wanted to do an intro video on it, go over a few of the things that you need, etc. to do it, and then eventually I'll make videos on how to do it and go through it step by step. First up, I just want to dedicate this video to my dad, who passed away last Friday. He was the reason I probably got into electronics and computers and cars and all that stuff. So I just want to dedicate this video to him, and I'm sure he would enjoy all this stuff as well. So yeah, so making your own Game Boy translated cartridges, it's not too hard. You need medium to high level soldering skills. This is not for beginners, just because it's quite fine soldering and there's a lot of pads that you can easily rip up. So you kind of need at least a good medium to advanced soldering skills. So I'll just show you what they do now. Basically, the cartridges I'm going to show today are Game Boy and Game Boy Color. For purposes of building the cartridges, they're basically the same cartridge, just in a different case. That's all you need to worry about at the moment. So I've got my DMG here. I'm not sure how this is going to come up on the video, but what I'll do is I'll grab one of the games that I've done. So let's say Game Boy Wars 1. So this is this one. So this is a cartridge I've already done. This is the Japanese cartridge. So what you basically do in a nutshell is you buy the cartridge that you want. Sometimes you've got to buy donors because the cartridges can't be, they've got the wrong footprint for the chip, one of the chips that you need to do. But mostly you just buy the Japanese version, which you can see here. This is actually Turbo, Game Boy World 1 Turbo, which is a little bit quicker, but basically it's the same game. So I'll just pop this guy in, turn him on. Let's see if I can get a good picture of it. Whoops. Always the way when you're trying to demo something. And there you go. And there's Game Boy Wars 1 in English, as you can see. Hopefully you can see that all right. I'll just go down to play game. Start. Yep. So basically, this was the forerunner to Advanced Wars. So if you like turn-based strategy or any strategy games, this is a really cool game to play. I absolutely love it. It was one of the first translated Game Boy cartridges I built. But there you go, guys. So that just shows you that they do work, and that's the sort of thing that you can do. So I'll just take him out, put him away. Now, just put him in here. Now, I haven't got all the cartridges that I've ever built here, because I don't have enough room, but I just wanted to go over a few of them. So that's showing you what you can actually do. Now, you can play them on a Game Boy Color as well, obviously. I'm just using my original Game Boy because that was the first Game Boy I ever got in around, oh crikey, when was it? Early 90s? I think that fits somewhere in there, maybe a little bit around there-ish. I can't remember the official date these were launched, but it's around there. So yeah, so that shows you what you can do, guys. Now, another cool little thing I made. This is a development cartridge that I built for myself. This one is designed for the Game Boy Color. As you can see, it's using a Game Boy Color donor cartridge. You can see I've got an RTC battery in there, and a save battery. This is only for save. There's actually no RTC on here because this isn't for Pokemon games. Most Pokemon games have got a clock built inside, which makes it a little bit trickier. And I haven't converted this one to FRAM. You can convert the save file chips to what's called FRAM instead of SRAM, and then you don't need the battery anymore. It'll keep your saves without a battery, and that's really, really handy because the Batteries do go flat and they do need to be replaced. So the FRAM solves that. So this is a development cartridge that I built a while ago. As you can see, it's actually got Game Boy Wars 3 in it at the moment. So this is a standard EEPROM chip. So what I used to do is get the games, load them into the EEPROMs, and then plug them into this cartridge, plug this into a Game Boy Color, and test them before I finalize the carts. You can see they've got jumpers, so that's for different settings and stuff that I've got. These ones here are for, this is an 8 megabit 8-bit EEPROM. You can use 4 megabit 8-bit EEPROMs in this as well, and that's what the jumper's for. They just change the size of what the actual ROM is. So that's my little development cart, guys. You can make these, they're not too hard. I made it because I just wanted to be able to test the ROMs before I did them. Most ROMs that are out there on ROM websites like romhacking.net is where I get all my translated files from. I'm sure there are a lot of other places, but that's where I get all mine from. Right, so let's just go over a few of these games. You've got, Game Boy Wars 1 Turbo, Game Boy Wars 2, and for the Game Boy Color, Game Boy Wars 3. Now, one of the tricky things about this card is it uses a 1 megabit SRAM to save. Normally they're either 64 or 256 kilobit, so this has got 1 meg. So if you need a donor cart for this game, to build this game, if you don't have the cart, I'd recommend just buying the cart because it comes with the 1 meg. But there are other donors that do have 1 meg, but there's not many of them. So this is something to note. If you need a 1 megabit save, which quite a few games do, this is the cartridge to do it on. So that's Game Boy Wars 3. This is a Zelda hack ROM. I can't remember exactly which one it is. Obviously you can see it's in a Pokemon Yellow cartridge. The cartridge and the PCB inside are from Pokemon Yellow. Or Pokemon Yellow. So that's just an example of just a cart that's fully customized. Now this is, if you know this cartridge, this is Gargoyle's Quest, which is part of the Capcom Ghouls and Ghosts series. So that's the original Australian version. This is the Japanese version, but this is number 2. So I've converted this from the Japanese version into a English translation, and this is number 2. So it was released on the Game Boy in Japan only, and it was released on the NES, the Nintendo Entertainment System, in Japan only as well. But really cool game. Not many people know it exists, and it's really, really cool. Now, depending on how you pronounce this, Nectarus, it's basically another turn-based strategy game. So I've done an English conversion on that as well. Most games you're going to see here are turn-based strategy because I really love them. This one, I think this is... I've got to remember, but it's the same thing. It's a turn-based strategy game oh, there it is. I don't know how to pronounce that. But yeah, that's another one that I've done. So there's just some of the examples of the cartridges I've done, guys. Now, what do you need to do these? There are a few ways of doing these carts, but I'll try and explain it from the easiest way to the hardest way. Now, if you're going to do these, you're going to need an EEPROM burner. Now, the cool thing is that all these EEPROMs that you're going to use are all 8-bit EEPROMs, not 16-bit. So any EEPROM programmer on the planet should be able to program the EEPROMs. I know I'm calling them EEPROMs. Some of them are actually flash, so you don't need a UV eraser for them. You can just keep erasing them and reflashing them. Even though I do call them EEPROMs, I probably shouldn't, but that's just so that you guys know. So yeah, so you need an EEPROM programmer, one that'll do 8-bit chips, like 40-pin socket or less. What was it going to cost? $50 or something? Like it's well worth the investment if you're going to be building quite a few cartridges that have got English translations. Now, the easiest way to build these carts, and yes, I do have my anti-static strap on, is using these little guys. These are called PLCC flash chips. They're a standard. The pinout is a standard. Now, basically, A PLCC is a plastic leaded chip carrier. That's the actual what it means. These chips are really common on motherboards, old electronics, inside CD-ROM drives, inside a lot of electronics, and a lot of the time they're socketed, so you don't even have to desolder them. You can use this little guy. This is a PLCC extractor. You're going to need one of these to extract the chips, so that's really, really handy. That's that tool. These are easy to get. There's a little bit more wiring involved to use these inside a cartridge, but they're very, very easy to get. They're cheap, and you may have some in old electronics, you know, lying around at home. So that's why I wanted to talk about these guys, even though they're a little bit trickier to wire up, because as you can see, the pins are fairly close, but it is possible. Basically what happens is one side goes onto the PCB, the other side goes onto the PCB, and then these two ends, you make little linking wires off to the other pads. So it is tricky, and that's why I say you need medium to high level soldering skills, because it is a little bit tricky. These chips are easy to get. You can get them in basically any size you possibly want, from a 1 megabit to an 8 megabit, because that's the range you're going to need, but they're all 8-bit, so it makes it really easy. So if you're going to get some of these, here's another one here. It's the same thing, it's the same package, just different size. You need one of these little guys. This is a chip adapter socket for a PLCC. This, you basically get the chips, pop them in there, and then you pop this in your EEPROM programmer, and then it will program them. Then you pop it out, grab your little extraction tool, put that in, and then you pull the chip out, and then you're ready to use it. So that's those guys. Now the next thing up is using these chips. These are a SOP, I think they're a SOP 28. Some of these are very hard to get, or they're very expensive. This is a 4 megabit chip. These ones are really, really easy to get. This is the Atomal one. It's a 040 in a 28 pin SOP from memory. It's either 32 or 28, one of the two. So this is a 4 megabit, a 0040. So these are not too hard to get. They're not too expensive, but not all games will fit on here. A lot of games are 8 megabit, so you'll need a 080, and they're a lot harder to get. So there's the 040s. Now these are some Micronics MX010s in a SOP 32 or a SOP 28. These are pretty easy to get, and a lot of games are 1 megabit, so you just need one chip of these. Now these are the 080s, which are 8 megabit. These are the ones, these are the Micronics MX ones. Now these are expensive, but easy to get. The big advantage of these little guys is you don't have to do any linking wires. This is 100% pin compatible with your cartridge, so you just have to put them on and that's it. So that's the chips you're going to need, guys. There's a socket converter for your SOP chips to go into your EEPROM burner. So that's one of those guys. You'll need one of those. Now I'll open up one of these carts and just show you inside so you can see the SOP chip and how it's all done. I will be doing videos showing you actually step by step how to actually make these. I just wanted to do a quick intro video so you could see what you're going to need and what you do. Alright, let's get this guy. You're going to need one of these guys. It's just a Nintendo security bit screwdriver. They're only like a couple of bucks. Well worth having. Now let's open this guy up. Pull down and it should pop up. Come on. Rightio. Now, here's the cartridge. Now, as you can see, this here, this is where the old mask ROM would live, and this is a 080, as you can see, that I've soldered in place. Now, as you can see, it is fairly fine, the pins are fairly fine, but you don't need to run any linking wires. They're pin compatible, they just go straight on. The only tricky thing is these chips are PROMs, so they're program once only. They cannot be erased via electrical or UV or anything like that, okay? So you've only got one chance to get it right, otherwise the chip's basically a dud. And that was one of the reasons that I made my dev cart, is so that I could actually test all the ROMs before I burnt them. These chips here, this is the Atomal chip. They are fucking hard to get. They're like hen's teeth. I only have a few left. Been trying to get more of them, but yeah, they are very hard to get. That's your SRAM chip, so that's a 256 kilobit. That's the MBC5, that's the chip controller that controls information between these two chips itself. That's a battery management chip, and that's obviously, that's a CoinSelid CR2032 probably, and that keeps the saved games on the SRAM. Now I will do a video where you actually remove the SRAM chip and replace it with FRAM, and then FRAM doesn't require a battery. It's non-volatile without battery, whereas normal SRAM, once you turn the thing off, that's it. If you don't have a battery, the data's gone. But FRAM, or ferrite electric RAM, doesn't have that limitation. It's non-volatile by default. So that's the insides of a cart, guys. Just put this guy back together. Screw him back. Whoop. Now, with a soldering iron, you're going to need something that's temperature controlled, and you're going to need something with a fairly fine tip. I don't have a fine tip on my Hacko at the moment. I've just got this one here that you can see. This one will actually do the trick, but you can get a fine one that's a little bit better. I use a Hacko FX888. The FX888D is the current one, and it just means it's digital instead of got a knob on it. Another tool you will need is, I can get a good shot at it, one of these guys here, a hot air rework station for taking off chips and stuff. You will need one of these. They're not too expensive. You can get ones that have a combo of the hot air and a soldering iron in the same unit. Mine is just hot air, so you will need one of those guys. Oh, there's my Hacko there if you want to have a quick squiz at it. Now I'll just put you back up here. Now, I think that's basically it, guys. That was everything I wanted to cover. If anybody has any questions, let me know. I will be doing more videos that are step-by-step. I just wanted to do an intro video to show you the chips and stuff and in parts you need, what you can do, and basically just a quick guide. Now, if anybody has any questions or not, always hit me up on Discord or on email, which will be listed in the bottom comments of this YouTube video. Thanks guys for watching.